Coming to Kenya, this is a tweet that came out of Al Jazeera English, the process of the 2017 Kenyan presidential elections. Now, we had a lot of drama yesterday, not very good drama. UK and US are gravely concerned by the murder of the IEBC's Chris Msando. Rashid Abdi, who's with the International Crisis Group, said of this murder, "This is someone who was involved in a critical component of the elections, the electronic infrastructure." Chebukati, who's the head of the IEBC, said there is no doubt he was tortured and murdered. The only issue in our minds is who killed him and why. The IEBC has postponed a Monday test of its election results transmission system and will announce a new date soon, he said. NASA, which is backing Odinga's bid for the presidency, condemned the killing. Addressing reporters in Nairobi, coalition spokesman Musalia Mudavadi said Msando's responsibilities included systems dealing with voter identity verification, electronic tallying, and transmitting results. He was at the nerve center, Mudavadi said. He was supposed to lead the results transmission trial run today. It's telling that the key person has been eliminated at this delicate time. The killing is an attempt to drive a dagger into the heart of a forthcoming election, and indeed a dagger into the heart of Kenyan democracy, he said. But we are totally confident that this terrible crime will accomplish the opposite and strengthen all Kenyans' will to demand a free, fair and credible election. This is a photograph of the IEBC chairman, Chebukati, arriving at the city mortuary to see the body of Chris Msando. There is considerable speculation about the missing arm. Gruesome stuff 8 days before the polls, said Martina Stevis. Clearly there was some kind of fingerprint security, a little bit like Kabila the Elder. You remember, he had a lot of money stored in Harare, and they could only open it by flying his dead body to Harare and then pressing the button with his finger. Warning signs that people are worried about Kenya's election. Nairobi's usually horrific traffic jams have all but disappeared. My piece over the weekend was about how youth turnout was key in these elections. And I said, the 8th of August now looms real close, and as it gets closer, the cacophony outside my window overlooking Waiyaki Way gets louder and louder. Most polls show this election is too close to call, but pollsters the world over have been getting it wrong from Brexit to Trump. If you look at the United Kingdom, the youth vote slept in during Brexit, then woke up for the UK snap election and nearly carried Jeremy Corbyn into 10 Downing Street. The newly enfranchised youth vote is a big absolute number of first-time voters and is a very big curveball. Is this youth vote turned on? Will it turn out? How will it vote? My view is that this demographic actually has the election in its hands. Will we see a youthquake? And if so, how does it break? The next key issue is turnout, and I think what we're going to see is strategies around voter suppression and opposition strongholds. Are voters on both sides motivated in the same way as they were last time, when the ICC proved a lightning rod in motivating voters in Jubilee strongholds? I was listening to Shafi Weru on his morning show on Kiss FM, and he was regaling his listeners with a tale about how a group of women were withdrawing conjugal rights from their menfolk as a way of compelling turnout and its direction. While Shafi was being tongue-in-cheek, as is his wont, he was touching on a key issue. The election can surely be won or lost on turnout. I recall a US Congressman, Hillary Clinton partisan, who described to me how the Democrats never saw the Trump ground game during the campaign. He said we would see US flags but nothing else, and yet Cambridge Analytica and Jared Kushner, with help from the Russians and WikiLeaks, seriously motivated their core base via digital micro-targeting. Are Cambridge Analytica deploying a similar micro-targeting strategy, and will it work? Moving the dial a few percentage points might make all the difference, I said. Beyond those two big macro trends, we know there's been some erosion in what was a monolithic Rift Valley vote last time around. The amount of that erosion is key. How will Masai land break? And it seems Ukambani is considered all to play for. And on that note about Cambridge Analytica micro-targeting, Tristan McConnell of AFP, Kenya's social media election attack ads and data mining, a strikingly toxic campaign was unleashed online in Kenya just weeks before the national elections. A potentially explosive move in a country where politics and ethnicity are closely aligned. The 90-second video, shot in moody monochrome, presented a dystopia in which Raila Odinga, the leading opposition candidate, wins the August vote and plunges the nation into a violent and inept dictatorship. Under this scenario, tribes would be set against one another while terrorists run riot. Stop Raila, save Kenya, the future of Kenya is in your hands, the video said. It is unclear who is behind last week's slick video or the real Raila, the shadowy pro-government outfit that disseminated it. But some on Kenya's vibrant social media networks are quick to blame Cambridge Analytica. 7.1 million Facebook users and an estimated 2/3 of Kenya's 45 million people are able to access the internet. There is a critical mass of people leaving an increasingly detailed trail of information about their affairs and preferences, a rich resource for those seeking to influence voting choices. Frederick Calterno, policy officer at data advocacy group Privacy International, is worried by the lack of any kind of data protection framework in Kenya. And then another interesting piece by AFP, Dead Voters and Other Ways to Steal a Kenyan Election. In Kenya, people say the dead come back to vote and then return to their graves, said George Murara, chairman of the Kenyan National Commission on Human Rights. Another strategy is to rent voters' identity cards during elections, essentially paying someone not to turn out. When you have someone's ID, this is the guarantee he will not be able to vote, said Mora. In some constituencies, we notice that the registration levels are higher than normal, said Kenny Lusuli. We fear that some are paying others to come and register in a constituency in which they don't live, so as to favour a candidate. The last elections were close, with President Kenyatta winning by a margin of less than around 800,000. You don't cancel an election just like that. Courts have to be convinced that the will of the people has been outweighed by the irregularities.